Hello YouTube, it's Ryan here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we're doing another One Piece review. Today we're going to be talking about the Summit War Saga, which is the 5th saga, 7th saga, 6th saga, I think, in One Piece. Let me think. East Blue, and then Alabasta, and then Skypiea, and then Water 7, and then Thriller Bark. So yeah, I think this would be number 6. It's pretty exciting. I really liked it. I thought it was really, really interesting. Overall, I don't think that it was peak One Piece. I think peak One Piece is definitely still Water 7, because Water 7 and Enies Lobby were such good, meaningful arcs. They really kind of brought the crew together. But the Summit War Saga is really, really interesting. Really liked it. I thought it was really nice. But yeah, let's get through the introduction stuff, and then we'll talk about the premise, and then we'll talk about the proper plot line here. So, yeah, titles One Piece, the Summit War Saga. Like I said, the author is, of course, Eiichiro Oda. Very cool guy. Really like his work a lot. It's published by Viz. You can read it on the Shonen Jump app. You can read it on the Manga Plus app. You can read it physically. You can buy the volumes digitally if you want. You know, there's a lot of different ways to read this. And the demographic is obviously shonen, if it's a shonen magazine. And the genres here are pirate, fantasy, and adventure. And obviously it has an adaptation. It's by Toei. Toei is kind of a shitty company, at least when it comes with the DMCA copyright strikes and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I personally was going to start to watch the series, and then the whole thing with Totally Not Mark happened, and I'm like, well, I don't really want to watch the series anymore. I'll just keep reading it. But yeah, so yeah, there you go. And the premise for this section of the story is basically that they are finally nearing the second half of the Grand Line. They're finally almost done with Paradise, which is what the first half is called, because in comparison to the second half, it's Paradise. Very interesting, kind of little bit of world building there. And they have one more stop to do before they can cross the Grand Line, before they could get into Fishman Island, so they can move on to the second half of the Grand Line, which is called the New World, right? And in order to do this, they have to go to this place called Sabaody Archipelago, which is this place where these giant mangrove trees grow that have this special sap that allows you to travel underwater and deal with the pressures of the ocean, right? So they had to go there, and then what happens is that they get derailed. Their journey gets derailed because they get beat to shit by by the government. And so what happens is that all of the crew is scattered, and Luffy has to go save his brother Ace, who is about to be executed at Impel Down. Or was it at Impel Down, or was it at the government facility? I can't remember, but Luffy has to go save his brother, but he has to go do it alone because his crew is scattered to the winds on the four corners of the world. So that's basically what this saga is about, and it's a very, very good saga. But I think that there was a certain kind of element of the story that kind of made it less One Piece feeling to me, because this was definitely Luffy's arc, or Luffy's saga. And I like Luffy, but I care about the Straw Hats in general. I want to see the journey of the whole crew, which is, pushed by Luffy's desire for adventure, right? But Luffy is not the only character I care about, and so the fact that he's the only person that this arc, or that this saga basically talks about, was kind of not the best, but it was very, very interesting. I think that overall I did really enjoy it. I just was expecting something slightly different from the ending, and so that made it not as good as Water 7 for me. But I still think that this is a great saga. It's probably the second best saga in One Piece. Just like because of the weight of it, like the power that it has is very, very good. So yeah, let's talk about the plot line here. I divided it into 5 different arcs, if I remember correctly. Sabaody, Amazon Lily, Impel Down, the War, Marineford War, and then post Marineford War arc. So yeah, I think it's 5 different sections, 5 different arcs. The first arc is the introduction of a lot of world building and lore development kind of stuff. You get to Sabaody, you get to see that, hey, there's these people called Celestial Dragons, which are basically like the world government, the world nobles. They're the descendants of the 20 families that created the world government. They live on top of the Red Line, which is the giant wall of red stone. And they basically don't think of themselves as humans, but rather as, greater, higher power type entities. And they only come down to Sabaody and to certain places for specific reasons. In this case, they went down to Sabaody to partake in the slave trade. And Luffy does Luffy things, and he punches the shit out of one of these people and starts a war. This leads to Kizaru, which is one of the 3 admirals. I think his name means yellow monkey. He has a light fruit to show up, and he brings with him some, pacifistas, which are like Kuma Man shaped, robots, which are cyborgs, and they're basically war machines. And we get introduced to Riley, the second in command to Goldie Roger, and basically what happens is that Luffy and gang get beat, they get whooped, and they get separated. The Kuma guys throw all of the Straw Hats into different parts of the world, and so everyone is alone. Luffy has been immensely physically and emotionally defeated because he is not strong enough to protect his crew. Zoro was not strong enough to be dependable for Luffy. Sanji didn't manage to do anything, and everyone got disappeared, and basically Luffy thought they were dead. Eventually, we see that they were not dead, that in fact everyone was just sent somewhere else, and Luffy finally manages to rationalize this, and so he is feeling better, but not the best. He manages to get to this island called Amazon Lily, which is basically Themyscira, from the Amazon, from Wonder Woman, but from the Amazon, myths from ancient Greece. And it's this island ruled by a woman who happens to have like Medusa-esque powers. And it's an island for only women, and Luffy, being a man, is kind of basically trespassing and, being put to death. He manages to gain the trust of Boa Hancock, the warlord of the sea, who also happens to be the queen of this island. And very fun stuff happens there in Amazon Lily. I actually really like it. I think that the Amazon Lily arc is mostly just to transition from Luffy being with his crew to Luffy having to be alone, but also to develop this idea of hockey, which is this interesting power that no one really knows how it works at this point yet. But basically, these people in this island can infuse arrows with hockey. They can use hockey in their fights, which allows them to hurt devil fruit users, which is really, really good. And that sets up a way for Luffy to get from Amazon Lily back to Impel Down, where he needs to go to find his brother. So, very interesting stuff. While he's at Amazon Lily, we learn that Ace has been captured by Blackbeard and is being put to execution, and he's going to be killed because he's an important member of the Whitebeard Pirates. So there's a lot going on, and it's a really, really good setup. I think that Sabaody was really fun. Amazon Lily felt really fun as well, but it was a bit slower than I really wanted it to feel. I think it was only about 10 chapters, but those 10 chapters felt like they dragged a little bit, because it's like, why are you introducing this character that really isn't all that important? I mean, she's meaningful. She's been teased for quite a while, but like, what's the point of her? Beyond her being introduced to take Luffy to Impel Down, but he could have gotten to Impel Down other ways. It just like, it was necessary to introduce her, and I really found her to be an interesting character, but I feel like there could have been other ways to do it. And I think that, dropping Luffy at Amazon Lily kind of made the story flow a little bit slower than it really needed to. But that's a personal opinion. That's just how I was feeling at the moment. I don't necessarily think I would feel like that on the reread, so I don't know. So that's the initial setup of the story. And then Luffy gets taken with Boa Hancock towards Impel Down. He manages to steal a Navy ship from these guys that were talking to Boa Hancock. And then when they use the Navy ship, they can travel through the special current that we saw at Enies Lobby. The current that's connected by the Gates of Justice, in order to allow very quick and, unobstructed travel between the 3 different locations that are important for the government, right? So he managed to get to Impel Down, and he has to infiltrate it. He infiltrates it by hiding in Boa Hancock's cape. And Boa Hancock is really happy about this, because she basically has fallen in love with Luffy because Luffy is basically as asexual as they come, and so he's not affected by her powers, and so she thinks that because her powers don't work on him, he is the perfect man for her, and she gets like lovesick, and Luffy's like, "What the hell's going on? What's going on? You know, you're weird, but if you're helping me, I care about you, so thank you." And it's pretty funny. I actually really like that joke a lot, or I think that kind of bit of comedy there is really funny. It's really enjoyable, but it's also pretty ridiculous, right? So I think it's fun. But what happens now is that, you know, Luffy gets into Impel Down and immediately finds people that he has messed with before, like Buggy and Mr. 3, and they cause a ruckus, and so everyone knows that he's at Impel Down now, and he has to fight the wardens and fight people in the prison, and eventually he kind of, along with Buggy the Clown and number 3, or Mr. 3, managed to get deeper into Impel Down, and Impel Down is a very interesting kind of place. It's basically this underwater prison, but it's also kind of made like Dante's Inferno, and so it's concentric circles that are worse and worse every time, and I thought that was really, really good, very interesting. And Luffy gathers a surrogate crew of people to help him along his journey in order to find his brother, and there's some really, really good moments here, very good stuff. Luffy has to fight this guy that has poison powers, which is really cool. He's the warden of Impel Down. Luffy has to fight off the poison that this guy inflicted on him, basically just by screaming and surviving as this guy, Ivan or Ivanko or something like that, pushes, you know, these kind of like healing hormones into his body. We get to see Bon Clay return, which is really fun. Bon Clay isn't really my favorite character, or he wasn't, you know, early on. I didn't really dislike him, but I didn't love him either. Although his whole thing about friendship was really, really good. But Bon Clay continues to do this throughout Impel Down, and he's such a great character in Impel Down. I really, really like him. I think his style and his vibe is really fun. I like it a lot. And you know, there's a lot of moments here, and eventually Luffy manages to get to the bottom of Impel Down. He finds the cell where his brother was at, but his brother has already been moved, and all he finds there is Jinbei, this fishman, who happens to be a warlord of the sea, and Luffy has no clue, right? And so now he has to fight his way back out of Impel Down, climb up, and manage to finally leave Impel Down, go on a boat, and move on to the last place on the triangle, which is Marineford, right? So what happens is very, very interesting. I think that this arc was really, really good. There was a lot of really good comedy. There was a lot of good action. There was a lot of characterization for a lot of different characters. We got to see Crocodile again, which is really cool. We got to see Mr. 1, Mr. 3, Bon Clay. We got to see Buggy the Clown. We got to see some other people. Blackbeard showed up at one point. Jinbei we got introduced to. Bull Hancock we got introduced to. Or we learned more about her. The warden was really cool. The underwarden was weird. He had this kind of like Egyptian style to him. I didn't really understand. And we got to see a lot of Zoan devil fruit users, but they were like awakened, and so they had like the perfect symbiosis between their human and their unhuman halves, and so basically they were like werewolves, but for whatever animal they were. So there was this guy that was a bull. He was basically a minotaur. There was this guy that was like a rhino man, and there's two other ones, but I can't remember exactly what they were. And overall, very, very good stuff. Impel Down was really, really solid, really, really enjoyable. I liked it a lot. I really liked this whole kind of like hidden paradise thing that they had going on with Ivan and all of the people that he was with. His devil fruit is really, really interesting, and I liked it a lot. And finally, we get to Marineford War, which is insane. It was really, really powerful, very meaningful, very kind of emotionally draining as well. I read it while I was in Mexico, and I was sitting on the couch in front of my family, so I was like, I gotta hold it in. Like, I can't like react weirdly. I'm just reading. My parents are gonna be like, "Why the hell are you crying if you're reading?" Right? So I was like, "No, okay, I gotta, keep it in." But it was really, really good stuff. I liked it a lot. And I was listening to Murphy Napier talk about it, and damn, I definitely did cry listening to the way she described things and remembering what I felt like while I was reading it. So, Marine Ford Ward, Marine Ford War is very, very interesting in the sense that it's a giant like war, but it's not just that it's a giant war. It's that it's basically a kid trying to save his brother and a father trying to save his son, but they basically aren't able to because there's this whole force against them. Kizuru shows up. The lava guy shows up. Akainu, I think his name is. Aokiji shows up. So 3 of the admirals show up. And they wreak havoc on the pirates that show up to fight, which are, you know, all of the people that ended up following Buggy post Impel Down, everyone that Luffy brought from Impel Down, plus all of Whitebeard's pirates and all of the associated crews with Whitebeard, which is like 90 something boats, which is, you know, hundreds, basically thousands of people fighting. There's this guy who is basically Oars Jr., which I thought was really, really cool. And, you know, Ace is basically put up on a pedestal. He has, you know, they broadcast the information out to the world. Ace is the son of Goldie Roger, which was kind of a crazy thing. I didn't expect it. And now, because he's the son of a pirate and a pirate himself and part of the Whitebeard crew, he has to be sentenced to death because he could be just as dangerous as Goldie Roger, right? And the whole thing is that, you know, Ace is sitting there on the pedestal. This information is being spread out to the world. And Garp, the guy that is basically his grandfather, the guy that raised him partially, is having to sit there and go through the execution with, you know, the rear admiral, the guy that is hella in charge, which is this cool guy. He kind of reminds me of Aokichi. I don't know if they're related, but his name is Sengoku, and he's basically like the Buddha man, which is pretty cool. I thought that was interesting. But like the whole war is really, really good. You know, Luffy shows up, he yells for Ace. But before that, you know, the Marines are fighting Whitebeard. They know that Whitebeard is coming. They're prepared. They have a bunch of stuff up their sleeve. And Whitebeard shows up, and then all of his kids show up. And then they start fighting, and it's a crazy massacre. You know, Aokiji is freezing crap everywhere. You know, everyone's running through. We get to meet one of Whitebeard's sons, whose name is Marco, who has a phoenix fruit, which is so, so cool. That was really awesome. We get to see that, you know, there's the Oars Jr., which has a very special relationship with Ace because Ace managed to build him a straw hat that was large enough for his giant giant head, because he's a giant that's extra large, and how he loved that little hat because it protected him from the sun and from the rain, and it made him feel special. And so he wants to save Ace, and he tries really hard, and he does all this stuff, and I loved it. I thought it was so cool. And we get to see Whitebeard acknowledging that Luffy is a meaningful character and understanding that this is who Shanks was talking about. We get to see Luffy use Conqueror's Haki for the first time, or Emperor's Colors Haki, or whatever it's called, to stop everyone for a second. And then everyone respects Luffy, and then we see Luffy completely overwhelmed by everyone around him. Everyone is so much stronger than him, but there's so many people that are around him that are stronger than him that also want him to succeed, that help him. Jinbei protects Luffy a bunch of times. Paul Hancock protects Luffy once or twice. Even Crocodile helps out Luffy. Buggy helps out Luffy. And Luffy just wants to save his brother, and his brother is trying to get him to go away. He's telling him he doesn't love him, that he's telling him that he doesn't need him and stuff like this. And Luffy's like, I don't care. I love you. You're my brother. I'm going to save you. And I thought it was so, so badass. And honestly, Whitebeard was the coolest character in this whole thing. He's just so cool. He just shows up, and he's like sickly, right? But he's like, no, I gotta represent. I gotta show up. And he just enters and breaks the friggin' world. And it's so, so cool. Whitebeard is such a badass character, man. And I really like him because all he wants is to have a family. But in order to have a family and live freely, he has to be a pirate. And so he built himself a giant pirate ship and a giant pirate fleet. And all of the guys that are in the pirate fleets are his sons. and he loves all of them equally, and he has to go fight for his son, not just because he's a son, but because he's his, one of his main commanders, and mostly because it's his son, and he gets all of his other sons to help him, and then they're all trying to save their brother. And Whitebeard is like, okay, Luffy, you're woefully unmatched or overmatched or whatever, but you need to help your brother, so I'll help you help your brother. And he gets all of his sons to help Luffy, and it's just so cool. This whole arc was so amazing, so awesome, so powerful. And I was waiting for that moment where the rest of the Straw Hats would show up, and Luffy would be happy to see them, and he'd get that extra bit of strength in order to help him, find his brother. But they never managed to show up, and the reason is because they were all trapped in their own islands. They didn't know what was happening, so they didn't have a way to, figure out how to get to to Marineford, before the situation happened. And the whole arc was so good, and it ended so powerfully. Like, Luffy managed to save his brother, Whitebeard managed to save his son, but then at the very last moment, Akainu punches the hell out of Ace and blows a giant hole in his chest, and Ace is dying, and Ace wants his brother to acknowledge him, and he's so happy that he finally managed to find people that love him and that give his life meaning, and he has finally found meaning in his life because he managed to save his brother from death. And damn, bro, I definitely cried. This was like top One Piece moments, the very emotional, very powerful moments in One Piece are always like this. They just kind of like come out of nowhere and they punch you in the gut, kind of like how Akainu punched Ace, and they just like go hard, man. Like, damn. And Ace just wanted to know if Luffy was there for him and cared for him. And Whitebeard also happened to have to die this arc, and he had to do it in order to save his sons. And the last thing that he wanted to know was if he was a good father. And damn it, bro. Damn it. I'm getting teary-eyed right now just talking about it. Like, damn. So powerful, so badass, so amazing, man. Like, damn, Oda is such a great writer. Like, damn. So amazing. And then, that's how that ends. Shanks shows up, and he stops the war. He's just like, stop it, people. This has gone on long enough. Let us pay our respects to our pirates. We'll let you have your wounded, and let's end the battle now. It has finished. Get over yourselves. Move out. And the situation happens because Kobe, of all people, loser, scaredy cat Kobe, stops Akainu. He yells at Akainu to stop this violence, because at this point, there's no point. Justice has been served. The goal of the war has been accomplished. It is over, right? And Shanks shows up, and he's like, you did good, kid. You're doing the right thing. And he shows up, and he tells everyone, hey, it's time to go. And damn, Shanks is so badass. He hasn't been in the whole series except for like 3 different panels, but damn, he's so cool. Definitely badass character. I really like him a lot. I think that it's just weird that everyone loves Shanks, even though he doesn't do anything the whole series. But man, he's such a badass. And the war ends, and everyone goes away, different things. Jinbei has to take Luffy because Luffy has become catatonic. He basically went into like emotional coma, basically. His eyes whited out, his mind broke, he can't comprehend what's going on, and so Jinbei has to save him. They go back to Amazon Lily, and Luffy is distraught. He's broken. He doesn't know anything. He realized that he's not strong enough, that he hasn't done anything with his life, and we get to see this flashback to Luffy's childhood, the first time he met Ace, the fact that Ace and Luffy are not actually blood brothers, the fact that they were raised by these bandits that lived in the mountains of the island that they're from, the Goa Kingdom. And we get to see that Luffy and Ace had another brother whose name was Sabo, and we get to learn about Sabo. We get to see that, he died, but it was really clearly set up that Dragon took him, because Dragon came back to the Goa Kingdom during this fire thing that was happening, this kind of like culling of the backwater people of the Gao Kingdom. And we get Ace or Saba was saved by Dragon. That's definitely what happened. And we get to see that Luffy and Ace are really beaten up by this, and we get to see that Ace had a horrible childhood. He wanted to be loved. He wanted to be cared for. He wanted to have purpose in his life, and he didn't think that he had any because he was the son of Goldie Roger. Everyone hated Goldie Roger, like not pirates, but normal people. And he just wanted someone to take care of him, and someone to not take care of him, but someone to care for him. And he finally managed to get that from Luffy, and it just like extra hurt afterwards, right? And then we get to see that Luffy is not okay, but he's kind of on the bend. He's coming back. He's realizing that he needs to train and get stronger, and so he does something crazy. He goes back to Marineford. He goes to the memorial that Shanks erected for Ace and and Whitebeard, which was beautiful, really cool stuff. And he tattoos something on his arm, which says 2D scratched out 3Y, right? And so eventually the news makes it to the island where all of the Straw Hats are, and they immediately understand, damn, I should have been there. I need to run for Luffy. And then they realize, hey, Luffy sent us a message. It's not about meeting in 3 days anymore, or in 2 days. It's about, 3D2Y, sorry. And it's not about meeting in 3 days anymore. It's about meeting in 2 years, because we have to train in order to get stronger. And we'll see each other at Sabaody in 2 years' time. And I really love that. I love that they trust Luffy so much. They're just like, okay, we needed to be there. We weren't there. But now Luffy wants us to train. So we're going to train. We'll be there in 2 years. We're going to see him soon. And it was so good. Damn, dude. This was so powerful. So amazing. Definitely top saga. Not the first one. Not the best one. I think Water 7 is still better. But damn, this is like second saga for sure. Fuck, man. It's so good. I loved it a lot. Really amazing. The characters were so cool. I loved Riley and Whitebeard. I thought they were so awesome. I really like that, they met Hachi again from all the way from Arlong Park. And they developed this idea that, hey, man, we can forgive you as long as, we understand each other. And I thought that was really good stuff. Boa Hancock was a wonderful character. Really fun person. And I really like seeing all of the villains again. I like seeing Marco. Marco's not a villain. He's one of Whitebeard's pirates, but I like seeing him, and I like seeing Buggy and all of the villains from previous arcs, like Crocodile and Mr. Bon Clay and Mr. 3 and stuff like that. I thought it was really cool that they managed to do this, and I thought Buggy was hilarious because he basically failed upward up until like being a powerful character, and I thought that was really funny because everyone learns that Buggy was connected to Shanks, which was connected to Goldie Roger, and so Buggy basically has become this urban legend, and I think that's hilarious. And yeah, really good stuff. Hate the Celestials. Saba was a cool character. I liked him a lot. And in terms of world building, I thought this was amazing. All of the stuff we learned about Sabaody, and in Sabaody, all of the stuff with Boa Hancock's background, all of the stuff with the way Impel Down works is really cool. And all of the stuff that is coming that, has been foreshadowed is really cool and really interesting. And I really can't wait to see what happens. Yeah. Very interesting pirate and marine lore there that got introduced here. And we got to see that Kobe has some sort of power. And we finally learned about hockey and what hockey is and does. There's basically 3 types of hockey. There's armament hockey. There's feeling hockey, observation hockey. And then there's Conqueror's hockey or Supreme King Colors hockey. And armament can be worn as a suit of armor around your body. Observation is about learning to feel and understand what your enemies are doing. And in positioning, and Conquerors is about exerting so much will that everything listens to you. It's very cool, very interesting. There's also this thing introduced called the Voice of All Things, which is that just observation hockey or is that something else? I'm not sure. I'm kind of confused about that, but it's really interesting there. Super good stuff. Really liked everything, and I'm curious to see what happens with Fishman Island. In terms of art, this was awesome. The Marineford War arc definitely had so many double spreads. It was insane. I can't believe Oda literally just like drew 30 chapters of double spreads. I thought it was so cool, so badass. Amazing setting here with Impel Down. Really, really good stuff overall. There's a little bit of fan service here as well, mostly in Amazon Lily when, you know, stuff was happening with all of the hot women that were there, and then not much else after that. In terms of rating, this is a 5 out of 5. So amazing. But this 5 out of 5 is slightly lower than the 5 out of 5 I gave to Water 7. So there you go. Definitely recommend you guys read the saga. Of course, you have to read all of the rest of One Piece first before you understand what's going on. But very, very good stuff here. So, yeah. Really amazing stuff. Really liked it. Really thought it was cool. Definitely going to do more One Piece videos before I get back to reading One Piece. I think I'm going to get back to reading One Piece around March. So, between now and March, I'm going to have some videos. I'm not too sure exactly what type of videos I'm going to make. I'm either going to make, you know, top lists or, you know, talk about specific things about One Piece that I like. I'm probably going to do a why you should read One Piece video, a ranking the sagas, or ranking the arcs. I haven't decided. I'm going to talk about ranking the Straw Hat Pirates, which one's my favorite, which one's my least favorite. And then we're probably going to do something about talking about characters in One Piece that are not the Straw Hats and why I like them so much. And then, you know, I'm going to try to do a few more things there, but maybe a top 10 moment from top 10 moments pre-time skip for One Piece. I'm not too sure. I'm really excited to see where the content for One Piece goes on the channel, but definitely not going to get back to One Piece reading until March. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, overall, thank you guys very much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.